Testing.
Pleasant afternoon, Doc.
Good afternoon.
Good evening on my side. Sorry.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. Confirm you are on YouTube Live. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the late start. Welcome to the Lady Whistleblower Show with me, your host, Dr. Jermaine Gordon, on OBC Radio and OBC Radio YouTube channel, where we fearlessly uncover the truth and shed light on important issues. Today, we are thrilled to have you join us as we delve into the latest update from our beloved island of Jamaica. Before we do so, we kindly request that you like, share, and subscribe. Turn your notification on so you won't miss us while we are on. Last but not least, follow us on all our social media platforms at OBC Radio. And visit us on the World Wide Web at www.obcradio.com. Always remember, a winner never quit because quitters never win. The Lady Whistleblower Show is tackling Jamaica's failing education system and the government corruption. The parliamentarians have granted themselves a substantial salary increase, while children struggle with the high cost of education and lack of basic resources. Kindergarten students are burdened with extensive book lists, but lack essential sanitary equipment. Reflecting a system in crisis, teachers are underpaid, exacerbating the situation. Esteemed guests include educator Mr. Amakard T. Brown, Mr. Dervin Cochrane, and the distinguished female professor are joining the discussion to advocate for the solutions and a brighter future for Jamaica's children. The show aims to explore tangible solutions and advocate for a reformed education system in Jamaica. We want to shout out to those in media work. As usual, bear with me as I locate you guys so I can interact. And do a roll call as usual. There we go. Good evening, Leonie Denton. Good evening, Abina Sarkodi. Good evening, Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson. We appreciate you. And good evening to everyone else that is today. We ask you to like, share, and subscribe. Now we're here with Mr. Dervin, Mr. Cochrane.
Yes, Doc.
I just want, okay.
Okay.
I'm hearing it clearly, and okay, so they're supposed to hear me also. We're waiting on
Mr.
Mr.
Amakar.
Brown.
Brown.
Yes.
Okay.
So while you're here, Mr. Cochrane, could you just introduce yourself?
Okay. I am Dervin Cochrane, educator by profession, and also a doctoral student at the UA in educational planning and social development. Besides being an educator, I also have a legal background, which I would hope to add to the conversation as it relates to the field of education. Thank you very much.
Okay. We want to say welcome program, and we appreciate you for taking the time out to join us.
Yes.
The education system in Jamaica. What are the, and what, based on where you state, what are the problems that you face and you see other, from a personal experience, what are the problems that one faces?
Okay, in general, there's a litany of problems in the education sector. Lack of resources, compensation issues for teachers, and the systemic corruption in the sector. All the little sub-issues would come under those three main headings. And this is what is harming Jamaica's education system, and by extension, it is harming the future of Jamaica and economic growth and sustainability in this country. In many of the jurisdictions, especially first world countries, those countries that regard education, they are far ahead in economic development, innovation, scientific innovation, and economic growth and things. So many of our first world countries, like the US, the Chinas, the Russias, the Germanys, and especially Germany, and you have Finland, those few examples of those countries, they regard education as an important pillar in the economic development of this country. Hence, besides national security, health, and finance, education is the fourth pillar that builds a country and builds a society. So those systematic three things that I have spoken of earlier, we are in danger as a nation to not develop as we should develop and be economically sustainable as our first world counterparts.
You reside in Jamaica.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the things? Have you brought these? Have you ever point out these failure and where the education system is going to authorities?
Well, not to the authorities, but in different fora. Hopefully, the authorities will hear what I have to say, because this is not a PNP or JLP issue. This is a national issue, first and foremost. So I don't want anybody in the audience to think this is a PNP or JLP issue. Erase politics out of it. First and foremost, we have to elevate our minds. We have to be talking on issues. And whenever you go to the polls, whenever the elections are called, you vote on issues. This is one of the substantial issues that is affecting this nation. And I don't care whether you're a PNP or JLP, you need to understand that we have a serious problem in this country.
How can one as a people assist in doing better for the country of Jamaica?
You mean people here in Jamaica or you folks in the diaspora?
Yes. Well, both.
Well, I would say that you folks in the diaspora are very important, even though in some quarters they don't believe you are important in the whole scheme of things, besides us here being in Jamaica. Because sometimes folks from the diaspora who are on the outside looking in, if they don't want to listen to us, the citizens here, sometimes you and the diaspora who are looking from outside in, can inject yourselves in the conversation. And remember, you folks in the diaspora are the ones who are contributing billions of dollars in revenue through remittances every year. So that means, let us look at Jamaica as a company. Every single last one of us are citizens of this country. That means they have shares in this country. You folks in the diaspora are Jamaicans. You equally have shares in this country. So you equally have a voice to speak on the issues and to protest if there is any level of foolishness, malfeasance, etc. going on in the country. So as a people, all of us, both here locally and overseas, we have a stake in this country and the future of this country. It is unfortunate that you have some people in certain quarters who believe that just because you folks are in the diaspora, you have no standing, no input on national matters, right? Because I know one day many of you would want to come back to Jamaica and retire in your golden years, buy a house and retire and live the rest of your life here, right? So everyone has a stake in here, and it is unfortunate that we have heard from some quarters that they are stating that you have no local standard in whatever, whether they are legal issue. Because I heard of a case with Mr. Rattigan, one of your YouTube colleagues, spoke and carried the minister, Kamina Johnson Smith, to court on some matters that are dealing with corruption and the whole Kigali issue. And unfortunately, the court stated that he has no legal standing, which I find it very strange, because for one to not have legal standing on a national issue, and we are looking at the legal aspect here, I don't know. If once you're a Jamaican and you're living overseas, as long as you haven't rescinded your Jamaican citizenship, you are still a Jamaican citizen of this country. That is law, that is legal. And if anything happens to you overseas, whether even though you may be a US citizen or a Jamaican citizen, you have the best of both worlds. So both of your governments, it's like if you are stranded overseas, right? And one of the bigger the governments would have to assist, which is the United States, or those who are in Canada and those who are in the UK, right? Who holds a bigger whipping stick to assist in matters that may arise. But that does not discount Jamaica. So the thing is, you guys in the diaspora have dual citizenship, so you have the best of both worlds. You're living between two countries, but you have a stake in both countries and the issues in both countries, right? So we have to look at Jamaica as that. Jamaica is a company. Every last one of us have a shareholder or shareholders in this country called Jamaica.
So you have, excuse me, you have spoken about the importance of what the diaspora can do to assist.
Yes, sir.
And what we have been doing to assist.
Mm-hmm.
What you as a fellow citizen who reside in Jamaica can educate the fellow citizens of Jamaica and what to do for a betterment of it. We are here to, we know that corruption is wide across the board, but we're here focusing on the education system in Jamaica, the failing education in Jamaica. Well, as Mr. Brown worded it, the fail to failing education system, because we don't want to make it seem like it's just this party that has failed Jamaica, but the previous party has also failed us. But this party who has taken the baton on continue to fail a failing education system. And I want to ask you, Mr. Cochrane, as a resident of Jamaica, how can you edify your fellow residents to make Jamaica become a first-class educational system? Not that we're not, when it comes to other places and how we teach, but based on what's not happening, how can you educate our people and the fellow residents of Jamaica on how to make this education system a first class and a betterment for the people of Jamaica, not just politicians and the teachers who are teaching our pupils?
Well, Doc, platforms like these, I've always stated to my friends and colleagues, as long as I am given a platform like something similar to yours, like this, I will speak on it. And sometimes what I may speak on may be unsavory, but we have to speak the truth. I believe in the truth, because how are we going to evolve and move forward if someone doesn't give you a critique of your performance? You cannot have people who are yes men, because yes men, they are not going to take you anywhere. They are just saying yes because obviously they probably have something to gain from you. But those of us who are speaking the truth, would be speaking out of love, right? From the basis of love, to tell you that you have heard, and this is the direction we need to go. Listen to us, go. They always said, sir, that a wise man once said that once you listen to the voices of the people, you're hearing the voice of God. Let that sink in. So if the people are rising,
Could you just repeat that again?
Oh, if you're listening to the voices of the people, you're hearing the voice of God. That says that, let that sink in. If the whole majority of persons, people, are seeing that you're going to take them into a ditch and they're shouting, don't go there, we don't want to go into the ditch. This is not the voice of the minority, but the majority of people. A wise man would need to take that into consideration, because the majority are saying this. It's just like this crisis that we're having here now, which I'm seeing a lot on the YouTube platforms, which members of the diaspora, and I saw the letter which Dr. Francis penned to Ambassador Audrey Marks, stating that all the members of the diaspora.
The call to action.
Yes, sir. The call to action. Because they are very concerned with the corruption in Jamaica. And you have persons who, unfortunately, don't believe that we are having a massive problem with corruption in the country. And basically, the whole world knows.
What is that?
Right? That is why you folks in the diaspora are coming out. And that's why persons like you, sir, have your platform raising the issues concerning the corruption in the country. Hence, anyone who has any level of what's the right word to say now? Level of common reasoning skills, or should I say common sense. It would not take you very long to realize that we are in a crisis of significant proportions. As I said, this is not a PNP nor a JLP thing. Don't pin it on a party. We have to look at the thing holistically. That is why I say we have to elevate our minds from the little green and orange madness and to look at it with an objective view to speak on the issues at hand. I hope I have answered your questions.
I've received kindergarten book list for a kindergarten. We say kindergarten because we're on an international platform.
Yeah,
but for basic school, Jamaica, we call it basic school. And it's over 30, and I'm not exaggerating, over 30 articles on that big book list for a kindergarten who, mind you, is just starting school. Now, we have the parliamentarians who have given themselves a whopping salary increase, 300% salary increase, from where our taxpayers dollars. Now, our tax-paying dollars, what our tax is supposed to be going towards are stuff like guidance council who can proper counsel and encourage suicidal person. No, you take that call, please. She's supposed to be on. We supposed to sorry, that called interrupt. One of our guests called. What remind me where was Mr.
They were talking about the guidance counselors counseling children.
Okay. Yes, where if there's a matter where suicidal or any formality outside of school where a child is facing, there's supposed to be the taxpayers' money supposed to go where the teachers are being properly paid at a very comfortable, not just a comfortable, a very comfortable salary. Because if the parliamentarians can grant themselves a 300% increase, then it shows that there is enough and more than enough tax-paying dollars to assist other facilities in Jamaica, which we are now speaking of the fail education system in Jamaica. Now, proper utensils, proper food, if in case, I don't know if there is even canteen anymore in the schools where a student can go to school if they don't eat breakfast, where they can, if the parent don't have it, to give that pupil a lunch at home. Our facility supposed to facilitate a proper nutritious meal for our pupils. These are the things where our taxpaying dollars supposed to be used to implement for a better education system in Jamaica. Now, utensils, we have how many hundreds, if not thousands of teachers fled the country for proper wage, but yet still our parliamentarian grant themselves a 300% increase. In our schools around the island, janitors should be properly paid with proper gears to clean the school bathrooms. We all know students, and especially if they are not properly trained at home, how the bathrooms at school can be. These are things where our taxpaying dollars supposed to be using so we can have a better education system, so we don't have our teachers leaving the island for a better increase. There is a few things that I also would like to put forward where from my personal opinion and others that I've spoken to, curriculums that need to be implemented. Well, mandate in our Jamaican school system. financial education, real estate, and credit. These three curriculums supposed to be mandated in school if our politicians mean any good for our children and the future of Jamaica. Why? When we leave school at 17 and 18, if we make it that far in school, we already know the basics that's going to get us through life. I'm 45 years of age and I've lived in 8 countries around the world, and I've yet to meet anyone who asks me what's y plus z minus x. All these stuff they taught us in school. I've come to realize it's of no relevance to living a better life as a human being. Now, credit. If we teach our pupils about credit, how to build credit, how to build your credit score, financial literature, and real estate, then we now have our kids with a more vast mindset on how to portray the self and what to do. Because if we know how to manage money with financial literature mandating our curriculum in schools, then it is impossible for a student to leave school and know not what to do. Because our educational system is set to fail our generations in ways where when we leave school, we don't know what to do. And this is why we find so many young men and young women go on in the corners and form gang because they're seeking for something to do. Agriculture is another field I believe should be vast. We are a land of wood and water. We're just like other European countries. Every male child that born in that country has to join the army for a certain period of time at the age of 18. In Jamaica, what should be mandated is that every male child that graduate from school, they didn't follow, because encouragement strengthens labor. Once they go through school and finish and graduate, then they should have some cooperation where farming is something where they could go into, and agriculture we should start the more exporting than import, where our dollars can now have more strength. Economic can be much stronger. Money start flow. Farming is not a bad thing, but if we give our kids the ways and the means how the land, see to it they get that land and they have to go out. Now this is what we have our soldiers with go through and assist those who, because of course we have people who gonna be like this, you know, don't want to go into the, but as I said, these are things that's supposed to be mandated, so it becomes the norm. We know everybody looking forward to, oh, let me get my crop up and that I can go to the market and export. We're not just looking to market the Jamaican people, but we're looking to export. And major, we here in America, when I look around in this huge supermarket, we're not finding Jamaican products. Mangoes are from Mexico.
Yes.
Dominican Republic, yam, bananas, all those things are from Mexico and all those other Latin community countries. When we, Jamaica, is a land of, we have mass Jamaican people living in the diaspora. And we are sending in millions in remittance to Jamaica on a yearly basis.
All right, Doc, may I say something right here?
Sure, Mr. Cochrane.
What you said is very interesting, first and foremost, as it relates to agriculture. Jamaica is no longer a manufacturing country. You know, I have a very good contact of mine. She's a very young woman, and she has a company which she was engaging in agriculture, right? And she was able to get links from Europe. She signed some MOU with them, her business, and them to import things here in Jamaica. And she told me of the unfortunate story some nights ago that a certain person who was at the wharf stated it cannot be cleared for some reason. Also, what she basically said was a lot of crap, right? And when she went higher up, I think she went as far as going to the permanent secretary. The permanent secretary written to that person that it must be cleared. And that person was so spiteful that he waited weeks later to clear that agricultural product, right? During that time when it was cleared, the thing wasn't viable anymore. So she has lost considerable amount of investment. And also you have to look at in the agricultural sector too, that there's a severe disease of predial larceny. We have some people here in this country, when they see people who are engaged in farming, they decide to go and steal people's things, which is a systemic problem. Even though the Jamaican government has set up a predial larceny unit, it's still prevalent in this country. So if a young man or a young woman wants to engage in farming, they also keep in mind that people go and thief them things, right? And this is the problem. It's like we have developed a culture of laziness, right? We have a culture of young people coming up now. They believe to have everything now. They want everything now. And many of them go forth into illegal activities like scamming people of their hard-earned money, right? So they can get all the trappings of success. No. I know of some folks in St. Elizabeth, some young people who venture into farming. They were able to build a 3, 4, 5-story houses. Some of them in St. Elizabeth and in other rural parishes, right? Because of farming. So farming, we know that farming is highly lucrative, but the systemic problem is predial larceny. As it relates to the curriculum you're speaking to, sir, it will have to take political will. Political will. As what Paul Llewellyn would say, must have testicular fortitude. right? Is what do you have the political will to carry it out? Do you have the political will as a minister of government to use your power as a minister of government to ensure that this policy comes to light or becomes operative, right? So as you said, it boils back down to education. Education, you see, and that is why you see a lot of the things that you're talking about, it has that common to it connects back to education. For a society to grow and to evolve and to improve, the education system has to be fixed. It has to be fixed. Former German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Why, that woman is a phenomenal woman. When the judges approached her about giving them a salary increase, and you can Google it yourself, sir. You don't have to take my word for it. Angela Merkel said, no, the teachers deserve the increase. Not in exact words, but similar to what I'm saying. Because, as I said before earlier in the show, sir, that education is one of the most important pillars of building a country. And I remember I spoke about Germany earlier.
Yes.
How do you think, let us look back in history, World War II. Why do you think the Germans were so dangerous? Why do you think the Germans were so dangerous? I'm going to give you the reason.
Because they were far more advanced in education.
Not only in education, but many
and
of
technology.
the SS, yes, and many of the SS soldiers and the scientists have masters and PhDs. That is the crux of it. And when the Allies came together to destroy Germany, the two main countries, and I'm going to outline the two main countries have similar flag colors, the red, white, and blue. USA and Russia. The scientists after World War II and the Nazi regime was destroyed. Both the US and Russia kidnapped, or should I say, took many of the scientists to their respective countries. German scientists.
That it's funny now you spoke of those two countries, because I've seen a video that was done in 1980, before I think it was 1978, with Robert Nesta Marley, Bob Marley, and he was letting us know that Russia and America are two sisters, and they go for similarities in the puppet master pull both strings, but they go for the similarities to benefit each countries. So I'll let you continue.
Yes.
Good night.
Oh yes. Before you continue, let me just welcome our special VIP guest, a professor who wish to be nameless, and we just want to welcome you, ma'am, to the program and to the Lady Whistleblower Show on OBC Radio and OBC Radio YouTube channel. And we also want to, let me not just say OBC Radio and OBC Radio YouTube channel, because we're now on Apple Podcasts and iHeart Radio Podcast, and there's a couple other few Google Podcasts, and there's a few other that we don't have. I can't call off the top of my head. But as time progresses, we'll let you all know about it. And before we go forward, I just want to inform you guys that our WhatsApp number, for some strange reason today, after I send out the invitation and the marketing, I don't know if you realize our WhatsApp number have been banned. So we are we are we we're Jamaican, you know, we have to take bad things make laugh. But we're working on it, and we're contacting the support team, and we're doing our best to see what can become of it. But for now, we have our number 917 374 That's 917-374-4854. That's WhatsApp. 1-917-374-4854. And of course, to call in live, 1-800-944-2166. 1-800-944-2166. And what's very ironic, I used to have a WhatsApp on the 800 number, and I'm trying to get it back, and they said no, it's not valid to do. So I don't
know.
Oh Lord. That's all.
I know the smart people them control the algorithm in Jamaica. I don't know if they have any connections as far as to WhatsApp. So I wouldn't be that paranoia. But who knows? Because I know exactly. I know once I said it, everybody laugh. We all laugh, and we know what that laugh is about. So let me introduce our VIP special guest to our show and have her introduce herself to the best of her ability.
Okay, good night, everyone. Had technical issues getting in, but I'm here. Well, I've been a teacher for the past over 20 years experience. I've taught both locally and internationally. And for me, education is what changed my life. Believe me, I wasn't rich, born poor. Nothing going for me according to Jamaican terms. However, my mother decided early on in life that I will be better than she is. So school wasn't a if I want to go. School was a must. Come rain, shine, hurricane or storm. Myself and my other siblings have to leave the house and head out for school. Even if we have to roast dumpling a fireside, as them say. But school is a must. And because of education, it didn't make me rich. But what I do know is that education gives you options. And what is lacking today is that a lot of the young people do not have an option. They have gone to school, spent 5, 7, 12 years in school. So you start from primary school, 12 years basically. And you end up, when you leave after 12 years, you still don't have an option that education system is supposed to provide you with. And because of that, we have the situation that we have now. I hear my other guests speaking about the youths who have a culture of, I want it and I want it now. Education has taught me to wait my turn in the line. Because when you go grade 1, you don't pass common entrance in grade 1. You have to wait until you reach grade 6. And if you're born before September 1, you know it's only one chance you have. And if you're born after September 1 and beyond, you have 2 chances. So we have learned how to wait our time and to wait our space. And old people always say, satisfy with what me give you. And these are some of the things that is missing today. We are not satisfied with what we have. And as such, we have our hands full, but we are reaching for what we don't have, because we believe that it's what we have is not enough and what we have is not the best. Looking at our education system, my heart burns me every day, because I have watched our country mess up our education system, playing politics with people. I've seen us, one of the worst tragedy that Jamaica's education system got was when they changed out common entrance.
Yes, I agree.
Common entrance is one of the biggest. And that is how you know that the government messed the system up and running around as putting on cosmetics and pam like say it do something good.
Guest host, could you, I hear Mr. Cochrane also in agreement to what you said, and I also would say I'm in agreement to that fact that you just said. But for the listeners who are listening and don't know what is common entrance, what is common entrance and what's the difference between the common entrance and what Jamaican education system has now? And why you said it's one of the reason why we have a failing to fail education system.
All right. Common entrance was a test that places students in high school, not secondary school system, high school. So we had two systems at the secondary level. And the funniest thing, I did not do common entrance, So I'm not a product of common entrance. I was around in the time of common entrance. I didn't do common entrance. However, common entrance, as it said, was an entrance test into high school, traditional high school. Students who did not matriculate to do common entrance or failed common entrance went into the secondary schools or junior secondary schools. Now, common entrance had math, English, mental ability, social studies, and science, I think. Those areas, especially mental ability, had the students on the tip of their toe. That first aid in English book that you had to study.
Yes.
That blue book.
Amen.
Never forget it. That blue
Reader,
book is like
reader A, reader A, reader B.
Yes.
You're talking those books.
You had to study those books, because what that allows you to do is open up your mind, and the things that is not covered in maths and English and science and social studies or civics and so, that was a part of the mental ability program. So it allows the students not just to think of the straight maths and English, but to think outside and be creative.
To also utilize
the knowledge. Because in there, I think you used to have some Jamaican parables too, that you will have to be able to explain them, what it is and all those things. So it allows, and let me tell you, my brother did common entrance. And let me tell you, we had jokes at home in the evening when he came home. One evening, the school was throwing away some old encyclopedia. My brother took home all 24 volumes from school, and we had a field day. In those days in the early 80s, I remember one evening my mom and my stepfather was talking, and they mentioned gonorrhea. Never forget it. And my brother know the scientific word for gonorrhea and go say it. And my stepfather jump up and give him a horse. Saying that him out of order to talk about gonorrhea at his age.
Oh God.
But it's funny, However, at that age and stage, those mental ability tests and assessments that you do, they prepare you to be able to think.
Yes.
Now, when they remove common entrance and
Hold a
bring
sec.
in,
Hold a sec.
yes,
Yes. I just want to put emphasis on what you just said, because you bring back down memory lane, as one would say. And just to strengthen your point, how important those books were: Reader A, Reader A, Reader B, Reader D, Reader C, Reader E. One had was, because I remember as a child in school, every Friday we had was each week there is these poems that in these books, and every Friday we have to stand up and orally, we had what's called the oral tests, where you don't just read, but you got to articulate
oh Lord,
and memorize these poems. Few of which, I'm 45 years old as we speak and counting. And I remember the squirrel. Let me take you back. Whiskey frisky, hippity up. Up we goes to the treetop. Furly curly, round and round. Down he scampers to the ground. Furly curly, what a tail! Tall as a feather, broad as a snail. Where is his supper? In the shell. Snappity, crappity, out it fell. That poem is from that Reader A book. I don't remember. Maybe this was maybe like age 7 or 8, but just by you talking about it, that was instilled. Another one, Mother N and Mother Duck. Said Mrs. N, how can you make your children get so wet? My little ones are warm and dry, and I will never let them try to paddle in a muddy brook or even at the water look. Said Mrs. Duck, as you can see, my little ones are just like me. They like to swim and splash and dive. Just see how fast they grow and thrive. But hens will never understand why ducks like water, not dry land. This is from, and I can go on and on just by you talking about this. So it just show the strength of those things. Now, not even a telephone number we can remember.
that's true. That is so true. Sometimes you don't remember your name too.
But there were time. When we were growing up. When telephone come in, we remember we can recite over 100 telephone number in our head, because
Listen,
we were more exercising our brain than utilizing these gadgets that they now put in front of us. And I think it goes back to what Mr. Cochrane says earlier in the program, where he stated that I think we as a people just becomes lazy.
yes, man. But Doc, what you have to
Yes.
look at too. I have seen two situations recently. A 10-year-old they found wandering along I think in Mountain View area. He was by Mountain View station. That child at 10 years old don't know his name, he don't know the parents' name, he don't know where he lives, and
Oh, I've seen the
take a picture
article.
and put out in the newspaper and on the police X or something there to find out who knows this child.
Ooh.
Recently, maybe around a month ago, there was a situation where they found a little girl wandering in the transport center, I think in Half a Tree. The child is 9 years old and don't know their address. Now, we're under the sun. In my days, in this late 70s, early 80s, Where could a child be lost? You remember the story with Son Son? Son Son was just the one case, you know. But just by thinking about it, the number of students or children at 9 and 10 years old who don't know their address, not to mention, you know, the high school children. Recently, I had to ask some students because of the record keeping thing there. Ask some students, can you give me your address? And the child have to say, Miss, can I take out my phone to call my grandmother? 15 years old. And they don't know their addresses.
And we
On
can't,
top of that,
we
15
can't,
years old, they know their mother works at electoral office, but don't know if she's a janitor or she's the CFO or she's the financial coordinator or something there. They just know, say, my mother work at electoral office.
we can't blame, we can't cast blame on, though I don't want to use the term, the word parents, because not, I don't believe, and this is my opinion, chastise me if you may, but I'm used to chastising. I consider them obstacle that I just stepped over. And I think my back is broad enough for any chastism. And I've lived a life where I've lived the physical, emotional, and verbally abused. So I can take whatever come at me. But I do believe that our sister, I kind of lost my train of thought just now.
About casting the blame.
Yes, we can't cast, I don't want to use the terminology parents because I don't think everyone that has father and mother child are parents.
Right.
Parents comes
That's
with
true.
vast education, and which I said we're not going to cast blame on the mothers and fathers, because I believe in Jamaica, majority of us just happened to born. There was no proper planning, and it doesn't mean that we weren't meant to be here, because we are here. But there wasn't any proper planning and any structure way of our upbringing and so on and so forth. But if our educational system in Jamaica was advanced and equipped of giving knowledge to our pupils, so when they leave out, they know that by the age of 3 years old, because back in the 70s, I was a 78 baby. I'm a 70s baby. I was born 78. And by 1981, I remember when Bob Marley died,
Me too.
I could recite my ABC 1, 2, 3. I knew my address, my mother's name, my father's name. So, but it's because of the things, the upbringing, and I think it all have to do with, because but then it wasn't just my mother
Alone.
who was there, who raised me, even though it was my mother. I grew up in a single parent home, but it wasn't just my mother, because going to school I had was to be on my P's and Q's, because I had was to look over it at all times. It seems like my mother, I was right here, because
Alright.
Mr. So and so and Mr. This and who she do, she's the washing machine and the floor polisher for those people, and she know this from the church and stuff, and they live all over. So you may never know who's gonna see me misbehaving, and
And
so
and Doc,
Community
and
raising the
Doc,
child.
Doc,
Community raising.
yes,
that was how I grew up. I grew up in what we consider a family yard, where we have a bunch of cousins living on one property, even if a one room we were in. We were a family. So when mommy gone, I remember one day, Pitney Day country and we are climb sweet sap tree. And one of my cousin, we have to call her auntie. And remember now, you can't just call your big sister and big brother by their first name.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say
Brother.
big sister
Oh, yes.
and big brother
Mm-hmm.
and uncle and auntie.
Brother
So
Dervin and
I
uncle this and auntie that.
calling my cousin's auntie up to today.
Mm-hmm.
Now these aunties, fully with bad word when you're wrong, A bad word was the order of the day. Because remember, even though we are talking, Jamaica was a dunce country in those days, Parents never could have read. However, them buy Gleaner every Sunday, and call you Kayaga big school. If you can't read, and if the sentence no flow, how them know Uncle God in heaven know? If the sentence no flow like how it fi flow,
Mm-hmm.
then stop right there, so go back over it.
And you're so right about that, because as I'm talking a while ago, I realized because she stopped going to school from the age of 7 years old.
Yes, man.
But however,
early.
she see to it that we got the education and we wouldn't misbehave and disrespect anybody older than who we are.
Listen me. I grew up in a community where you say my family are the workless breeding. Them said that breeder now come out to nothing good.
Mm.
And of my grandaunt's had 10 children. My mother was the only one out of the sisters who out of the 10 only 2 live, which is my mother and another sister. So she just only have the two of them. And then she died early. But my aunties, them are grandaunt that have the 10 and the 15 and the how much. All those children grew in the same yard. Even without a father in the house, they were there. And half of them could not read. Because we were the least among the apostles. When we got school, fighting was our order of the day, So me have some auntie that were beat off teacher when teacher drop slick on them bus fight and teach and then left school from then time there. However, their children is able to read and write and go a high school, traditional high schools too. Because the mother insists say you're not going to turn workless like me and work a factory. Mm-hmm. So the women used to full up factory. So when the buses are passing, people hang off in the morning. It's factory workers, a whole ton load of female. Now we have it, we call it call center. Yeah. Right? What is happening and what has happened to our education system is that we keep on moving away the family. You notice first time family house used to have big veranda, big living room with dining table. Now, and big kitchen. Now, what is happening in our society today? We have big bedroom, big bathroom, and one galley kitchen. No dining area. No veranda where you sit down and watch the children play. And you get one little matches box, 2 feet at the front and 2 feet to the side and 2 feet to the back, and them charge you 27 million for that. And say that is your family home, where only you alone and your child can live. So what has happened is that the family setting has moved away from what we had in the 70s and the 80s to something in the 21st century where you reverse in and reverse out. And you work from now to next year and you work until your fingers drop off and you're trying to provide all this stuff. Christmas come when me a grow, me get one whistle, one bird whistle where you put water in and blowing at it and one starlight, and that was Christmas for us. And we were happy. And food in our belly. We never was on the street with one buckle a Hennessy or nothing walking around the town drunk as a skunk at 12 years old. We were home with parents who stand up on your daddy and you rub butter and sugar and lick out the bowl and the dish when you're done and was glad to do that. because that's Christmas and that's family. So we were able to sit down and draw sorrel and grate a carrot because Christmas morning no wood fire now catching at the yard. So you better roast the beef overnight or early in the morning. These are the things, those are the values that we got as a child and as children growing up.
Moral
What we have
values.
yes. And that was not taught at school, you know. When we go to school, you have one book for phonics, and this is where them replace phonics and call it literacy. You cannot replace phonics. The children must know the sounds of the word.
They
So
remove
all the
those things that we got. Yeah, that's enhance the kids. Home economics.
the latest model. I hear people calling graduates, graduates, and all sort of something. I have to be sitting down and wondering, what for the English teacher there?
No, there's the other one when they call
Example.
principles. And there's a difference between principle and principle. Principle is that you're explaining something. I don't remember the exact thing, but principle is that you address the head of a school. But I hear the rubbish coming out of even the people
yes.
online. And I'm saying, my God, they have bastardized the Queen's language.
They have murdered it.
And you know what's so sad? You know what is so sad? Every single one of our leaders are from the era of what we're talking about.
Exactly.
So they are deliberately flipping and corrupting our youths when it comes to education.
So why do you think, sir, Doc, then why do you think you hear about this artist singing Fully Dance? And it is fully endorsed, especially the politicians.
Fully endorsed.
You know, see, everybody drift.
Yeah,
everybody drift. Everybody is drifting. Yeah. When I look at the chief education officer drifting, Jesus Savior, I could not believe. I said, this is where we reach. A bunch of gimmickry.
And Jonas was drifting. The Prime Minister was drifting.
No, man. The Prime Minister, look at it. The Prime Minister was posted in the Gleaner for not paying student loan.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
Student loan.
You're saying that the rich, the billionaire Prime Minister, who over the last almost 3 years now, net worth is $192 million US dollars. This is over almost 3 years now, and he has yet to declare what he stands now. But I know for a fact, and this is not allegations, 192 million US dollars while making little over 58,000 US dollar on an annual salary, one-time payment. You are letting me know that the Prime Minister, who is a billionaire, who was student loan?
Well, he was posted in the Gleaner. Student loan calling about the student loan. But he's voted in as Prime Minister. And nobody questioned it.
Wow.
He was the Minister of Education that gave his friends contracts.
Who is going to question it? Like really, who is going to check him?
Nobody questioned it leading into the elections.
If you got to understand, if we check him, nothing comes from it, because guess what? The buck stops with the DPP.
Yes.
If the DPP decide not to prosecute, find a reason, no matter what evidence pile up on our decks in front of her, if the DPP slowly decide to say, okay, we find no reason to prosecute or even to launch an investigation in this matter, then there's nothing based on the
All
current
right. But
constitution.
look at what happened. Look at what happened. When the information came out about the Prime Minister and the contracts awarded to friends and so at the Ministry of Education, him say a long time thing that, and before no time, the corruption prosecutor said, oh, it's a long time thing, and sent out
It's a
a
long
big
time
article,
thing.
a long time thing.
So
So we leave
all those citizens in Jamaica who student loan, and
a long
once it
thing.
consider a long time thing, it's a pass based on the Prime Minister's policy.
It's a long time thing. The only persons who are held by the throat is teachers.
So hold on,
Teachers
hold on, guess. Mr. Cochrane.
Yes, sir.
I hear you say you're a present doctoral student.
Yes, sir.
How you manage financial wise with you don't consider under the long time thing?
I have to work hard to provide the financial resources to pay for my studies and thing.
I don't think teachers covered under the Student Loan Bureau, you know. I don't think we can get student loan.
No, man, teachers can get student loan, man.
Oh, congrats.
Right. I've known of persons who graduated from high school want to go to teachers college. They went to student loan to get the loan to go to teachers college and university.
No, man, no, not like that. But for us working teachers.
Yes, there is a facility.
Okay.
But you have to go through the process. Student loan has it, because I remember that facility, but I didn't use it. I paid for
Is it accessible?
So, the time when I checked it, it was accessible. I don't know if it has changed now, because there's.
When I said accessible, is it an easy process, or it's a ongoing process where give you like, I can't even bother with that?
To be honest with you, Doc, I didn't go to student loan to do a master's degree. To be honest with you, I cannot speak on that. But I know the facility is there. As I said, Doc, I don't know if the process has changed, because a lot of things have changed over the years. Look at the NHT. A lot of people cannot go again to get the little loan, because they have to go all the way to the banks. And remember, Doc, since NHT was set in the 1970s under the Manley regime, the collection of NHT in the form of your taxes, guess how much NHT is worth in terms of financial resources, sir? A few years ago, it was worth over 13 billion US dollars. It could have gone up now. So if we, the citizens of Jamaica, cannot go to NHT and get a little loan from NHT, and which the government has to shunt you all the way to the banks. So the question is, and I hope somebody will answer this question, if we are to go to the banks to get the loans to buy your house, what are you going to do with the NHT money? Is there going to be some little level of raping of the NHT to do what you want to do? Violating the mandate it was established in the 1970s under the Manley regime, which has amassed a huge sum of over 13 billion US dollars in liquid assets. So are you saying to me now that since you are going to, people of Jamaica are going to the bank to get the loans at some exorbitant interest rates?
And remember now, the bank is tricky, The bank is tricky. They will not tell you that it's not a fixed rate.
Thank you very much.
It varies. Exactly. And guess what? As soon as you start out at one, and then in the middle, I have had my mortgage raised 3 times, I think, last year.
All right. And they raise it because, remember, the banks have to make the profit. And also
keep checking more. Because leave it like that and pay. And just pay.
No, these are things as an adult one has to go into to live a somewhat normal life. However, it's not the curriculum, nothing about housing, real estate, nothing about financial literacy.
Doc, I have to put it here. We have to look at it this way back. In today's dispensation in Jamaica, we are still on a plantation, which is run by the descendants of house slaves and indentured laborers who want to carry on the colonialistic way of life, that you have the rich and the poor. Because those very same rich people still want to have helper to clean them house and wash them dirty clothes.
And them have washing machine, you know.
Oh, yes, washing machine. So there must be, the way how the system is set up, by these famed descendants of the house slaves and indentured laborers, and by some extent the descendants of the slave masters who are still here, are the ones who are making the system that way. Remember, you know, sir, back in the 1970s, when Manley put out the enshrined into law the status of the Children's Act, which is colloquially called the No Bastard No Barnya Act, right? Black people like me and you, and especially bastard Pitney, can go to university. You have
but remember, in those times too, you know, when you have children outside of marriage, you know,
you couldn't get an
you couldn't own them, you know, and you couldn't go to college.
Exactly.
You go to college, and if you go to college, that's where so you don't have a child.
Right. But you have, I don't know, there's a disgusting narrative that is being spewed. Right? And as I said before, this is not a PNP or JLP. I think people need to read them political history. And that should be taught in schools too. Right? You know the pros and the cons between the two political parties, the benefits and the positive. Because under the JLP, remember, Mr. Edward Siaga, God rest his soul, created heart. Just like God rest his soul, Michael Manley created energy.
Turn around and mash it up.
Right?
Yes,
and
but you see, I wouldn't look at the political history, because while the history is there of the party, it goes back to what the guest just said. They come around and mash it up, because even though Edward Siaga created heart, Andrew Holness right now with Jamaica leading, Labour Party leading the country, he's not doing nothing concerning in that matter. The People's National Party that led by Michael Manley, who created those facilitation to educate people so it could be a betterment, though who are running it now is not dealing with those things. And I also want to put emphasis and edify the listeners that the Constitution that was formed just on Mr. Cochrane, when he stated of our slavery mentality, we have to remember Jamaica was founded where they start in a situation where we said getting rid of people who they couldn't control.
Right.
That's how we become as a people. The
and
island Jamaica.
Propaganda.
These are the people, the unruly slave who didn't take telling and were rebellious and wanted to organize and unify people to stand against Bakromasa. Now they send us away to an island called Jamaica, and that's how we as a people become. Now, when our government, but we are talking about Jamaica. I can't speak for Haiti. I'm not living in Haiti. We are speaking about Jamaica. We first have to fix our home before we look to dance a yard, as my mother would say, God rest her soul, before we dance abroad. Right. I am a Jamaican, and this is what we're talking about. Not to belittle any other country or any other island. But Jamaica, when you say 82, what was I going? Where was I going? What was I saying?
No, you were talking about rebellious slaves and
Yes,
Yes.
we as a people form. Now we have to understand when we claim to become independent, to become independent, which I believe was one of the worst things that ever happened, because how we have the strongest money, the pound, and give it up. But we have to understand as a people that when the Constitution was built, it wasn't brought before us, the people, to vote on these matters. It was these greedy, corrupt government. Who they were, let's call a spade, because who afraid for call it? We don't afraid for call. We whistleblow over here. It was Joshua Manley and Bustamante. Those were the two cocksuckers who formulate the Constitution not to benefit the people of Jamaica, but themselves. And it was in agreement to adhere to a more lenient Bacamasa style from the colonized people, from those people who used to have us under slavery. Now, these constitutions still remains in effect presently, which affect the education system. It affect the prison rehabilitation system. We are seeing, I'm going to talk about that in another topic, where correctional officers are treated way less like they are nobody. And even the correctional officers came out and talking about the facility. These facility, there are no rehabilitation for them because they were built in Bacamasa days for the purpose of prison slave, us as slave. So we are still being held in these facilities. There's no rehabilitation. There's no proper service for when somebody come out, because not because somebody make a mistake and commit a crime mean that the life ends right there. They're supposed to go in and reform and come back out and able to learn a trade. Back in the days when people go to GP and come out, they come out with all these craft and going skills and yes, like what's going on with our taxpayers' dollars, and these are the things that we need to change. We need to use this. We have 30 minutes left on the program, and we want to bring forth. We talk a lot about what's going on and what we have witnessed. Right. Now we want to bring forth solutions.
All right.
Right.
Let me say
solutions to the problem. I will first let the lady.
All right. Let me say this, Doc.
Yes.
COVID came and we were locked down for 2.5 years or so. When school reopened, there was nothing to bring the children back in. EU has a program that they use in countries that I have
correction. When you said, let me just when you said there was nothing, what you mean?
In terms, all right, let me give you an example. I was, a hurricane came in a country, and when the hurricane came, it damaged the country. School was out until October. When school opened October, the EU had a program called Return to Happiness. The first week of school, the students were not in a classroom setting. They had like a town hall setting for parents to talk about the effect of the hurricane, while they have psychologists, psychiatrists, and everything come to the students, and they talk what happened during the hurricane, their experiences. That was one day. The next day, they talk to the teachers, and the teachers relate. The other day, they bring the teachers and the students together, and they talk as a group. The last day, which was the Friday, they give the children. It's an EU-funded program.
Okay, so they were valid. Okay,
yes.
EU-funded. Okay.
So it happened, and every September it is done. What
I
they
asked
did.
this question because I just want to make sure it wasn't from the 400,000 US dollars that Andrew
No,
Holness
sir,
got.
no.
Okay, okay.
So what happened was that the teachers had an avenue to express what happened. The teachers and the children were able. You see, the last day is a Friday. They tell you wear a white t-shirt. They give you water balloon, color paint, and everything. And you just run up and down and splash yourself. And you fling and lick teacher, you fling and lick, and you just do that for the whole day. That's therapy. When school opens Monday morning, 2 children from the high school passed 13 subjects in CXC, all straight A profile from those batch of children who only 3% of the island survived the hurricane. When the students were locked down, school was the only safe haven for a lot of these children. But they were locked down for 2.5 years with their molesters. Children who used to leave out at early morning with mama go help, fix up his stall for sell the orange. Used to dress in a the uniform, go mama stall, wait until 7:30. You take the taxi and go across road and you go to school. And you come home, stand up at mama stall in the evening and mama you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
The man with the on the corner can't look and say, boy, the license plate there come out so it's soon ready for drive. You lock the children down for 2.5 years. And when you see Dr. Christopher Tufton come out talking about
And
health
gave
and
them
wellness
social media.
Look at it. Health and wellness, you have Holy Trinity, you have Clancarty, you have poor school right there, Sir George's Casey and something. And him carry a bench, go put over Alpha. A bench, you know.
Well,
so you sit in the bench when something and somebody will come and talk to you. I don't know which spirit is going to come from the sky and speak to you. And when him got other inner city schools, you notice we not even touch the facts of them come and talk about the school district and depopulate one school for full up one next one before them look at changing the administrator who is them political friend, where them send Frank Clarendon come. Listen, we have to talk. These are some of the things that mess the school up, you know. In the school, you find people. Yes, man. Most of the outer parish schools, them.
We have to talk about that, man. We need to talk about this.
Listen,
we need to talk about
this
it because that's
check some rural parishes. When you check at Trelawney, when you check some places, maybe St. Thomas, the people and the principal them come from Clarendon, St. Catherine, because guess what? Any party in power, the people them will help the MP if you win. Them say, well, we're going to give you one principal work, but you can't get it in a St. Catherine, you know.
Yes.
So I'm going to say you got Trelawney. So you got Trelawney. And you walk up and down.
It is prevalent,
yes, man.
Because I've heard the evidence from many of my colleagues. And I've had a whole heap of them colleagues.
People
so you're saying,
and then,
you're saying a lot of Clarendonians getting the job in the...
Them send them as some far school.
Those who are in St. Catherine going to...
St. Catherine, you got Portland, or you got St. Thomas, or them find one
Portland.
Oh, so now you separate from your family as a teacher.
And when me look, the man we down there, one man we come from St. Catherine. I say, boss, we are come from so far already, so we are now one bush at Trelawney. So them just look and say, boy, you did a good follower, you know. You know, listen me. Them come up with NCEL. When I was going, it was one teacher in the entire school of a college diploma. Never forgot it, one double option English teacher. Everybody else was high school student who do sixth form at high school and come at the secondary school, come teach. But the children were passing. Every school now have a degree and a master's and PhD and the school is done. So are we getting quality for the qualification where you're paying for?
But hold on
there. No, we know. We know that Carl, because we have like 15 minutes going. We know of all that has been going on. We want to end off, because in everything you have the beginning, the middle, and the end. We want to end off by giving solutions. As teacher over 20 years and your experience, and we know what's going on, we know the corruption, we know that it can be better. What are the suggestions?
One suggestion: remove the politics from the appointments of persons in schools. Politically, let the political directorate stop have a say. Come up with a policy. And if I employ Mr. Cochran as principal, Mr. Cochran meets the criteria without a man go kneel down before the MP and say, boss, the daughter of a university is going to need the principal. Without that, that is one of the biggest problems in this. Remove the political appointee. If the politician needs a say in the school, whoever is there should form a relationship that is open for suggestion. But it should not be, in order for me to be a principal, I have to be interviewed in the living room of the MP. Because the MP fees me a PNP, and it's a laborized. So the MP have to call me in a living room and say, I know you're a PNP, you know, but I go give you a chance.
Or you could be a young Rhoda Crawford will get abused by the Prime Minister and Jonas.
No, Jesus, I won't even go there.
But continue solutions.
So, solution 1, remove the political appointees and the cloud that comes.
We're gonna give you. We're gonna write your points down. We're gonna give you your 4 minutes.
All right,
with solutions.
The next one, when we talk about intervention into, as I said about the students being locked down for the time being, you know how many students whose parents and more than one parent have died during COVID, but because it's only 10 could go funeral, they have not grieved that process. We need a program that the students, you say all of a sudden every school have spirit week. Have a week. That same spirit week.
I would like to correct this statement where it says parents died. I think they were more murdered because based on worldwide facts.
Yes.
Worldwide facts show that this vaccine, and every other country is doing something about it. I've yet to hear.
And our is silent as a lamb.
Because even Dr. Christopher Tufton, the Minister of Health, I see him personally on a video telling a community, the lady crying for water, and he said, if you want water to turn on in the community, go and get the vaccine. Now the European Union and a lot of other countries have come out against what's going on and said it was wrong and it was all a lie. Yet still Andrew Onless and his coronis has put it on people. Now what are the old the UK elder former Prime Minister Boris Johnson accountable for his part? What's going on? And we say we are under the British. But continue your solutions. You got 2 minutes.
We need a situation wherein the children have a right and an avenue to speak of their hurt during the time. One thing I noticed, I have not heard anything about the population increase or decrease. We locked down a generation of children and young adults and only open KFC. However, we don't hear if the birth rate has increased. Now, when you lock down man and woman in a house for 2 years, we must, as long as you're supposed to, be doing the do. There should be an increase in the population. We heard nothing. So it's simply the girl returned to school with flat belly. So the abuse that they have received somewhere along the line have disappeared. That belly.
There won't be a birth rate increase because the vaccine was a sterilization.
No, but we're talking about the vaccine came in after they were locked down. We talk about the during the lockdown. We hear nothing about the birth rate. If the population has increased or decreased from starting Tisoka has said nothing pertaining to the amount of abuse and so that was reported. So that is an entire silent area
Interesting.
that
And what
we
happened to
know
those
nothing
kids if
about.
there were any?
If because I have had children who was abused and had to abort the pregnancy, that child has not recovered up to today. And I'm telling you about children from early 2000 that I have taught come to school and they had to abort the pregnancy and that child was violent for the rest of the year. And we had a lot of violent girls and nobody talk about it more than the bench.
What's going
So
on
with
with children right? Children rights is still inactive? Children rights?
yes, man. Yes, man, the right is still there. However, is it being acted on or based on who is doing the abusing? It goes silent
No,
and
I'm
it's brought
talking the
back.
organization in Jamaica.
I have no clue.
Children first or something like that. The name
Like
or
here, the
something like.
children's cry. Those groups you're talking.
Yes, I think I remember
They're still there, but
years ago, Claudia.
But they're dealing with missing children now. They
yeah.
Claudia
mainly
Price has
spend
started
time
that.
on missing children because so many things have been merged. What I want to see happening is that if you are dealing with education, you cannot leave the teachers out of education. Persons who are running education are not teachers. They are not even equipped in education. They have no training in education and they are not trainable. Our current Minister of Education has the position for maybe 3 years and she still has to turn when she go to a press conference. Dr. Troop, Dr. Troop, Dr. Troop, you are the minister. She is the only one that can fire a teacher outside of the chairman.
You got 45 seconds.
So the minister has to be trainable. Not only that, spend the money on education. You have classrooms that children still don't have any benches. And they're saying what they have is adequate. It cannot be adequate. Come into the school that's and see for yourself. The schools are ovens. And they say, oh, teacher, you need to provide cool drink at the back of your class for your students. In this 21st century, when teachers barely surviving on pittance, reward the teachers. Payment by performance is a failed act from in the 18th and 16th century coming in. And they're brushing it off now and bringing it back in and say, oh, teacher must perform. That has been a failed thing. In the 70s, teacher used to whisper in your ears and say, don't come to school Friday. Remember, rub little more coconut oil on your foot. Because them no school inspector come.
All right.
Finish up and fix up the education system and the classroom. God no, education needs to change and leads to change in behaviors.
We appreciate your feedback and your suggestion in what the government can do to make our education system becomes better. Now, Mr. Cochrane, your 5 minutes.
All right, sir.
Solutions.
I agree with Professor that we need to get rid of the politics in the appointment of principals. And I'm going to highlight 2 judicial precedences that highlights it, which can be applicable in the courts. I don't know if you remember, there was a well, let me not speak on that. But there are 2 cases here. Head of Department of Education, Limpopo Province versus the Settlers of Agricultural School and others, which it was highlighted in the judicial judgment that the head of department of Limpopo is a public official who should not have interfered in the appointment of a principal. The other case here, KS Pataswamy versus the Union of India, also emphasized in the obiter dictum the appointment of school administrators by public officials is not permitted under the Supreme Court of India, and any meddling would be viewed as a breach of the basic right to education. So I just highlighted 2 judicial precedences which speaks on that very same matter. So basically, a lot of the MPs, councillors who are appointing principals, who are meddling in the process, they have broken the law. They have broken the law. And if someone did do further digging up, a lot of court cases would have stemmed out of that. Even in Australia, a similar incident happened in Australia recently about the deputy prime minister, who also was accused of interfering with the decision to appoint an executive principal for the inner city South State Secondary College. So all these persons, these political, whether it be councillors or MPs in the appointment of principals, need to be cut out, because you may be in for a nasty lawsuit one of these days. If anybody here, any person on this live right now who is a teacher who has been aggrieved, can bring it to court, and the ministry may have to pay millions of dollars in damages. Another thing that is instructive, that the recently published Patterson report has stated everything and has given a lot of recommendations for the fixing up of the education system, right? It is published, and sir, Doc, you can Google it, the Patterson report, and read it for yourself. A lot of the recommendations are there. It is up to the government to have some testicular fortitude and to implement those things. But somebody once told me that those persons who are there at the ministry, they're not going to want to implement it because it will affect them, right? And from many of my colleagues, friends who have told me, who are in the government, they stated that the Ministry of Education is a laughing stock of government. It's the biggest joke in government, right? So they need to implement all the provisions under the Patterson report to get it done, because all of those things are there, right? Also, we need to have, every year, the UE has been graduating clinical psychologists from the institution. Why hasn't the government implemented a program to have these clinical psychologists to work along with the deans of discipline, the guidance and counseling personnel at the schools? Every school should have at least one clinical psychologist working with that team. The guidance counselors are only trained up to a certain point, Many of our children, as my colleague stated, during COVID, a lot of pitney head mash up. A lot of pitney have been abused. A lot of children have developed psychological problems, right? So in order to help to repair, to give some semblance of help for these students, you need to have in every school a clinical psychologist. As a matter of fact, you see, just like how the government has been giving scholarships for the STEM teachers, they need to implement scholarships to attract people to go and do clinical psychology at UE. And as soon as them graduate, you absorb them into the system. As a matter, and also, so basically, those clinical psychologists have to be properly paid, just like our teachers need to be properly paid. That is why we have the teacher exodus. And don't be too surprised that if you hear January morning, another 400 or 800 teachers left the system.
That's true.
Because you see,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because you see that, tell you something. What the principals are earning here, is what a teacher with a first degree going abroad is earning. So basically, the principals are underpaid and they don't realize that. So they have been taken for fools by the government and they don't realize that.
Them are the master, man.
Straight up.
Them are the head, man.
Even Senator Damian Crawford stated, if you want teachers to have a livable wage, he stated it. Give them at least $300,000 to $400,000 per month, right? And that is not no wrong with that. But yet, we have a government who can give them, say, not 100%, not 200%, but 300%
of our taxpayers' dollars.
Right. And I would, you see, if the government said they would take 100%, we say, okay.
That's not a problem.
But you're good, but you've got 200 and 300. That is being greedy. That is
Give
being
it
greedy.
20%.
And right now, our politicians are the most highly paid in the English-speaking Caribbean. Not even Barbados, which is run by the venerable Mia Mottley, who is a boss prime minister, right? She's not earning half of that money, right? And I can't speak of other jurisdictions, but you can do your Googling yourself, Doc, because I know you're a researcher. That's why you have a doctorate.
No,
You know.
let me tell you something. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, based on his salary, know that he don't want to declare. Hard was to give himself a 300% increase to try to match up to what is going on right now with what he don't want to declare. Now, while I'm in totally agreement with both the professor and Mr. Cochrane on your solutions to make Jamaica a better place when it comes to the education system, I would go a bit further with the solutions, because in order for these things to take place, we first have to get rid of the corrupt Governor General, Pat Allen, who had invested the Seventh-day Adventists
In Cash Plus.
money into Cash Plus. Let me just break it down. Hence the reason that $20 million was lost when Mr. Golden came and becomes Prime Minister and said, oh, no Cash Plus, no Olint. Poor people must stay poor and we the rich must become richer. And guess what? They will take all of your money. Well, $20 million of the Seventh-day Adventists was invested. Hence the reason why Mr. Golden gave this corrupt Patrick Allen the Governor General. So we first will have to get rid of the Governor General because the head is corrupt. This government led by Andrew Holness needs to go. And I'm not saying that Mark Golden needs to come in, because while the PNP party has a momentum to becomes the next government of Jamaica, I am not with Mr. Golden as the silent opposition leader. It is impossible for all this vast corruption that's going on in Jamaica, and we have a quiet and weak opposition party. So it only shows that you all have secret for each other, and if you talk this, I am going to talk that. When the Prime Minister go and give himself 100% increase, and we have the opposition leader gonna come and take people for a clown and said, oh, you know what? Because I'm already rich, filthy rich, from Deering, Bunting and Golden money, I am only gonna just bypass that, but let the other politicians get the 300% increase while taxpayers suffer. You are full of shit, Mr. Golden. What we expect from you as an opposition leader, if you are for the people of Jamaica and betterment for Jamaica, you should be saying what we are saying. To hell with that increase. There's no way. 300% and you're gonna go in agreement with it? So these things has to go. We also have to get away as a people from this diated PNP and this diated JLP. We as a people supposed to be bandwagonists not for the party, but for the country. And until we as a people can take away the affiliation and the dietedness from the party and stop collect money to becomes bloggers, the $20,000 to come to becomes propagandists for the People's National Party and for the Jamaica Labour Party. You can't be out here talking about betterment of the country and collecting money to be propagandists. Whether they are wrong, you talk about the right and you try to talk about something, some history. If Andrew Holness come out and do something like we're talking about the infidelity of the Prime Minister. And I'm gonna hear, oh no, what about when Edward what about when Deacon Duncan with Michael Manley? Like these are dead people. With this the dietedness, until we get away from these things, then we can look for a betterment of Jamaica. We have to start with ourselves. And Bob Marley said it best. Until we as a people free ourselves from mental slavery, I can't do it. Andrew Holness can't do it. Mr. Cochrane can't do it. The professor here can't do it. Rattigan can't do it. Wayne Lawson, none of them can't do it. We as individual, we can only come out and speak up much and try to take as much action. But guess what? It comes and leave to you, the voters who go behind that ballot box and put the ink, whether you put it beside the bell, the head, or whatever that other party symbol is now, the UIC party symbol is. You must know that when you put your vote in, it's not for because you get payment or because your grandmother was this or your group and see my community was a paid. Come on. Especially for those who have kids, not for yourself, but for your kids, especially with the world and what's going on right now. We grew up in a rough and corrupt world. Now these kids, it's gonna be worse, especially with morals has been taken away. There's no morals, and it's so sad because the leaders in the government are people who grew up with morals and discipline. So the fact that they are not instilling these things among us is sure that they're not ready and mean us good. So until we get away from these things before we can start look, and the Constitution is another thing. The Constitution need reformers.
But who will?
But they are going
to the reforming. That's the problem, The reforming of the Constitution are the same corrupt people.
I don't believe Mark Bolin is going to do it or Andrew Olin is going to do it. But let me tell you who is going to do it, and I strongly believe, and we all have to stand behind. We the people standing with Rattigan, Dr. Rupert Francis,
Wayne Lonesome.
To honest, I don't want to call Wayne Lonesome because Wayne Lonesome is slowly for the People's National Party, whether them wrong or right, call a spade a spade. We want people who gonna speak for Jamaica, not for the party.
Okay.
For Jamaica.
But of course he's a part of the organization, and we in agreement because guess what? We have one common denominator is, well, I don't want to say common because some people may have just to get the People's National Party. I am in, whether it's the People's National Party in the Jamaica Labour Party, or let me not be a hypocrite because Jamaica Labour Party, unless the Jamaica Labour Party can back and forth. So let's change that. Yes, we need a change. So let's say if it's the People's National Party or the UIC party coming out, if there's another party that's going to come up and bring a momentum. But we as a people need to get away from the dietedness. We stop go out for the party. Not because we wear an orange shirt today and the orange do wrong, we can't talk about it, or because we took $20,000 from a councillor or a member of parliament and he do something wrong and we see it, we can't talk about it. When we as a people, Jamaican people, the reason why we are Jamaican people and the reason why we were there because we were rebellious from day one, unruly. I'm not trying to instigate any war or takedown against any illegal takedown against any government, but for us to start holding them accountable. And the only way we can do that as a people is to get away from the diartedness. Stop venticate for the party and start venticate for nothing but the people and the people of Jamaica and Jamaica herself.
That's true.
Yes, sir.
That is so true. Because at the end of the day, if we put in any party, we put any government we elect, and when they come into power, they forget the things they campaigned on, and the things they say they will do, and the things all of a sudden, you are no longer thinking about us as a people and making Jamaica great again, but you are thinking about your legacy. You are thinking about your family. You're bringing your wife, your sister, your uncle, your cousin, girlfriend, and all of you in one stew. And the people who elect you, who you walk, roll up your pants foot through river, come at night where we have to use flashlight to guide you from dropping at the trench.
Only 4 years.
You come in, shake with hand, say you're going to do something. And when we look, you all run, we were like, you remember this with Ryan, when Hurricane Gilbert? When the Rasta say, yes, I am the Rasta man to work for eat. What happened? Gilbert, and he said, Father, you forgot to I and I live here. So
We have
a situation.
reached.
Turn back.
We have reached the top of we have passed the top of the hour. And I just want to say again, we do appreciate Professor and Mr. Cochrane to taking the time out of your busy schedule to be a part here tonight and talk about the betterment of our education system, because it need talking about. If our people, if our government fail to educate our people, then our country will become a failure. We'll continue to talk about this, and we appreciate it and look forward in continuing to support. And as I was saying, I strongly believe that with Rattigan and the team, the Fantastic Five that everybody is trying to figure out, and Dr. Rupert Francis, Ratti, for those of you who had missed Reason with Rattigan, I would encourage you to go and look at it, because there is
there's a lot of
they're encouraging information there, and they're encouraging each and every person to reach out, because what we realize is the US government, even though they are supposed to know and we think they are aware of everything that goes on, without somebody going and pinching them, giving them the information in black and white, say look into this, then it won't be. So now there is a email, and there is an email. You can go on the Rattigan website, and I'm gonna put it out here too, and find the information where anybody as a people can send out the email and say, listen, there is the Jamaica, where's my phone?
Jamaica Legal Defense or something like that.
The Jamaica
Defense Foundation,
yeah.
Yes, and it's illegal. It need looking into. Where the diaspora, from what we understand, Andrew Owens and his crony have a diaspora, some organization over here collecting money from the diaspora. Right, and it's based on what we have acknowledged. It's illegal, and if the U.S. government know about that, it's simple thing. When they invite them here, we just put it out, and they get arrested. So when they think, the Minister of Security, who if anything's supposed to go, he's the one who's gonna do the investigating, and he's corrupt. Remember, UK and United States list him as one of the most corrupted person in Jamaica, politician in Jamaica, but yet still is Minister of Security. So who's gonna investigate that? No, they're not gonna do it. But we find a way to go around it, and we encourage each and everyone to just send out an email and say, listen, such and such need to be investigated. This organization need to be investigated, and it's worth looking into. And once you say that, they will do the job.
Doc,
and with thousands of...
I'd like to add something, Doc, on what you have stated, which is
Mm-hmm.
I know that the US has a law, and I spoke to a key person. I don't want to divulge your name, but
make it quick,
yes, sir.
Mr. Cochran. Summarize.
The US dollar is a part of the national security architecture of the US government, and if the US government finds that the money has been laundered or used in any criminal activity, Uncle Sam will come with full force.
They are going to come.
Exactly. So if you're not so take sleep mark that.
And we also ask you guys to pray for us. Not with no dirty prayer, no, but
yes, sir.
give us, for those prayer warrior, give us some, because trust me, what we're doing, I know with what's about to happen right now, I know with what, especially what I've been doing. I know Andrew Holness have his people out. Like, if I was in Jamaica, oh my God.
You're going up against a Leviathan.
I know you guys. Remember, some not going off of first, second hand information. I was with the guys. I saw so I know what you're capable of doing and what you would do. And I know, even though I'm over here, and just like Dr. Francis said, we still have to be on our P's and Q's, because your hands are tall over. But we have the option, we have the better hand over here. You kind of hold the blade, and we have the angle over here. And we'll never give up, we'll never stop. So fear is what you use on cripple Jamaican people. You can't use fear across the water. And we'll never stop. This is OBC Radio, Second Chances for the Forgotten Voices. You can download our app in your Apple Play Store or your Apple App Store or your Google Play Store. Or you can ask Alexa to play OBC Radio. Stream us on the World Wide Web, and you can look for Lady Whistleblower Show on the iHeart Radio and Alex Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. Thank you for tuning in, and let me just give a quick roll call. Choosing Media, bless up yourself. Audrey Patterson, Iman Barnia, Miss Wilson, Man City Portmore, Aldine, Marva Al-Sal. I hope I didn't butcher that up. I would like to hear judgment on the government based on economics and social indicator. More Miss Edley, remember they are only 14, even if he did say no, I don't want any of the money, the MP would still go. At least say no and encourage his party not to go along with it. That's what the opposition supposed to do, not to show the corruption, because they're greedy and quick to say, oh yes, when I go in, I get the same treatment. So to hell with you people. I'm not going to go away. That's the same thing they're going on with, and I appreciate that. Basically, sir, you're saying that the people of Jamaica need to educate themselves on our political issue to make intelligent choices as to who they want to represent them based on policies. Exactly, Marva Alsal. Miss Buckler, good night. Bless up yourself, everybody, and thank you again for having us. I know a lot of people would have been here more, but y'all was over by Rattigan. But as the week go by, I know don't worry, I know it will be here. So bless up yourself again. Season greetings, Happy New Year, and I hope all the best for the new year coming and leave fear in this year and enter the new year without it. Thank you again. Second chances for the forgotten voices. Thank you again, guest hosts. We appreciate it.
Welcome.
You're welcome, sir. Have a good night.
I think you guys can't leave yet until you see it said you get a notification that it end.
That it is
So,
what is that? What?
99% uploading. Until you see it say uploading finish. Yeah, don't leave off until it say uploading finish. On your end, where you get on my end, it's 99% uploading. I don't know what's going on your end.
Mine says 99 too.
Okay.
99 now.
Okay, yeah, so don't come off until it finish uploading.
Okay.
So everything can save. Did I end the Okay, yes.
We're off here, right, Doc?
Oh yeah, we're off here now.
Okay.
All that we were talking now, we're still on here. Just realize we're off now. Yes.
I would like to say, Doc, I must commend you guys in pushing for the fight, pushing the fight. God bless you all.
That's true.
Because I must tell you, Doc, in Jamaica, you have people who are either afraid or who have been bought out. So that is why
Oh, I know.
you guys are most important in the diaspora, especially on these
And they
platforms.
after, they seriously, I can tell you, they seriously after Rupert,
Yeah, I know.
They seriously
I heard.
want to kill Rupert. Rupert them don't leave with him gun, him sleep with it, Them
I watched.
seriously have time,
Man, I watched Ratigan earlier, Doc. I didn't watch the whole of it, but as I said, the diaspora is behind him. A lot of them are behind him, Mr. Ratigan, and my humble suggestion to the government, they have to be careful because if they dare deal with him, you have to go deal with ex-FBI agent Ratigan, who has his tentacles still in the FBI. So they must know where them are, but
well,
taking on a behemoth.
they're up against a lot because they're up against a former FBI. They're up against Mr. Francis.
Right.
They're up against the security gentleman, Herbert.
Exactly.
And they're up against Mouta Masalé, the whistleblower, who don't give no shit to call no name, whether the PMP nor the JLP. Just like I'm split it out right there, so even though I'm in support with what Wayne too hypocritical when it comes to the P. A PMP me vote for 2 times in my life, 3 times, 2 in the Jamaica election, in a general election, and 1 time in the local government election. However, I stopped vote years ago because I see what's going on. Really, right now, I don't see Mark ready. We want somebody else to change, but something in need to come out. Too much corruption are going to feel so quiet as an opposition leader. Something not right with him. And I realize what it is because I'm gonna touch that topic. Because I have the list of the 10 most vicious based on United States and England. The 10 most feared politicians.
Wow.
Bunting is on it. That's why Mark Golding so quiet in the opposition party. I have somewhere to go later. I will talk to you guys.
All right, Doc.
Yes.
All
right then. Bless up yourself.
Yes, Doc.
Leave over this now. Wait, am I still on live? What the hell? Oh my God, wait. Let me see. Check. Yes, so what the hell I'm still? Yes, I'm on. This is not good. Let's go through this. Perry. Okay, there's no email on that. That's my phone. Perry, you know the live is still on. The live is still on YouTube. I just realized it, and I'm trying to see how it stopped. Huh? The live is still on. Yes. Yeah, see it here? I'm still on live here. Now I'm trying to see if Perry, when you came in here. You know the live is still on. The live is still on YouTube. I just realized it, and I'm trying to see how. In it. Yeah. Yeah. Over. Or the right with. I hope that's gonna come back. Opposition parties. I have somewhere to go later. Yes. Later show you live. Or